Hi, my name's Dusty, and in this video I'm going to go over my top tool recommendations for beginner to intermediate woodworkers that are in small shops and garages and sheds and things like that. A lot of guys that are doing hobby work or just getting started out, or they're small businesses trying to transition into something bigger or quit their day job and get into woodwork. And I'm getting questions about what tools would I recommend, sort of best bang for their buck, and also the most space constrained. There are some really good big tools, but sometimes they don't fit into your shop. And so can you get high quality tools that can do high quality work without the high cost and without the high amount of space that they require? So I'm going to make some recommendations based on tools that I actually use, that are sitting on my wall and in my shop. I still use them on a very regular basis. And the reason that I like them is that they give you a high degree of efficiency. So with woodwork, a lot of what it comes down to is either moving a workpiece across a blade or across a bit, or moving a blade or a bit across the workpiece. In this case, most of my recommendations are going to be based on smaller tools that move across the workpiece, as opposed to carrying the workpiece to a shaper or a big table saw or a slide saw or something like that. My first recommendation is a track saw. Now, I use Makita, and I use a lot of Makita tools. And the reason is that I feel that Makita has a broad range of woodwork tools, and it's a reasonable price. They have some tools that other manufacturers don't have, and they're a decent price, and they're a high quality tool. And as you'll see, the whole family of tools kind of works together. So I hesitated, like a lot of guys, on getting my track saw for a long time. I thought that it was maybe kind of a gimmick and sort of silly. And the truth is it's a very important tool in my shop. Being able to take a blade and run it across a piece of wood in a predictable manner, and being able to set the depth and set your angle and run across a board and have almost a glue up, or in a lot of cases a glue up ready joint, is invaluable. So I have the corded one. The main reason that I have the corded one was when I went to buy it the day that I wanted it, it's all that they had. But I also do a lot of work that's like, I might do something for hours on end, and swapping out of batteries back and forth, I didn't want to do, and so I got the corded one. But I can see myself getting a battery one as well one of these days. I have two tracks. This one's the 118 inch, and I have the 55 inch. And something that I highly recommend that goes in this family is the kit that allows you to put the two together. And so you'll take your track, and it comes with two. You'll see that I have three here. That's because when I initially bought it, I bought the one that was just a single, and then Makita came out with a double. But there's two slots in it, and you'll put these deals inside these two slots, and then slide them together, and make sure it's nice and tight and straight. And then with this Allen key, you go tighten it down. And then I have a 10-foot track, a 4-foot track, and then I get almost 15 feet when I put them together. So that's really important for longer cuts. So when I'm doing ceiling beams or some big tables and things like that, which you can imagine, like carrying around 15-foot boards and trying to run them over your table saw in a predictable manner, that's even kind of tough as well. So being able to take the blade and run it across the top of your workpiece, or for sizing material, it's a really handy, like one of the best bang for the buck tools that you can buy for a small shop and for sizing material and getting straight lines and things like that. Another thing that I recommend to get with your track saw is the clamps. So these slide into the bottom of the track, and then you can clamp onto your workpiece. So that way, the tracks do have a foam rubber piece on the bottom. And for a lot of pieces, if I'm just getting started off and I'm trying to cut down something or downsize some material, I'll just leave it like this and not even use the clamps. And as long as you push the saw straight across the workpiece, it really doesn't move. Or if it does move, it doesn't move very much. But then there's times where I do not want any variability or any movement in the track whatsoever, or the saw, and so you use these guys. When you're doing angle cuts, it's also really helpful, because it's hard to keep cutting on an angle, and I'm talking like an angle on your blade, not an angle on the wood. In that case, the track will try to move a little bit. For all the tools I tell you about today, there is going to be a link in the description down below, so you can go check them all out. Most of them are available on Amazon. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I use routers a lot. And one of the best things that I found, this is also in the Makita family, this is a Makita router track saw adapter. And so this Makita adapter actually fits all of Makita's routers. And some people have told me they found that it fits their Bosch and stuff as well. It comes with 2 sets of rods and 2 spots for the rods to go into. So I have 3 sizes of Makita routers, and it fits them all. And basically the idea is that the router can go on the track. You can clamp it down, which allows you to get a straight movement, and you clamp it down, you say where it is, and then the router gets to travel across. And you can plunge up and down and set depths and stuff like that. So for cutting dados and grooves and rabbets and making relief cuts and things like that, this thing's incredible. So I have it set on right now the base for my router. Now this is the next tool that I highly recommend to get. I have the battery powered trim router, and the battery power, for those of you that haven't used it yet, it will surprise you. The battery, the 18-volt battery is incredible, tons of power, and I do a lot of work with it. And so I have the two bases. This one I use for just sort of general routing, and for the slab stitcher jig that I use for all of my bow ties, there's a little bushing that goes in the bottom. So this little bushing just fits in, and then I can do all of my slab stitching. But the router motor, the main body of the router just pops out, and then you can slide into this plunge base. And so this plunge base can also go up and down. This is probably the most used router in my shop. So again, this base will fit on all of my routers, and I do use it with different routers depending on what I'm doing. But I would say 95% of the time, this plunge base is always just on my workpiece. So if I'm cutting a 1/2-inch dado, for example, or I'm cutting a barn door and putting in steel slats, then I can just use this, and I have the functionality of the plunge base and the predictability of the track to get really straight and accurate cuts. Okay, my next router is the 1 1/4 horse Makita plunge router. And on this one, I always have the Milescraft subcompact base. And what this is a base that has a few functions. One, this plastic piece always sits on the bottom, and it's a little bit wider than the normal base on it. So it's a wider base, and you'll see in a minute why I like wide bases when I get to the next router. But more importantly, and what this one is mostly used for, is it has these mortising pins that you can put in and take out. And there's two slots, two areas that you can do it, but you've seen a lot when I'm mortising for doors or trying to cut mortises into the sides of boards, rather than go and figure out where the center is and take it over to a shaper, or try and figure out how to cut it out on dados, or try and get my board to run just right on the table saw and not move at all. With this, I can put these mortising pins in, get on top of my board, turn it sideways, which centers exactly where my router is going to engage, and then plunge down into the board and cut through. And I get really predictable and really accurate mortises. So occasionally I take it out to do some router work, but these are in almost full time. The Milescraft base is actually really reasonably priced in terms of bang for your buck. You know how much utility you're getting out of it. My third router is this big one right here. This is the 3 1/4 horse Makita router, and it's an angry monster. And so when I'm doing big cuts on mantles, or doing a lot of work on bigger wood, or trying to size stuff down and things like that, this one really comes in handy. Just a whole lot more motor to take out that space. And it has a 1/2-inch shank instead of a 1/4-inch shank, and so you do get some bigger bits. Now on this one, I have a really big and wide plexiglass plate. I was actually at the window store one day and going to order some glass for some projects I was working on, and I saw a piece of plexiglass kind of sitting on the side, and I asked them what it was, and they just said it was an offcut. And I thought, hey, I'd like to give that a try. And I think I'd seen somebody on Instagram, a timber framer, one time. I kind of saw a video and somebody had one of those, and I thought it would be really good. So what happens with this, and you've seen if you watch me on Instagram, is when I'm doing tenons and things like that, I'll set two pieces with the tenon in the middle, and I can basically put the router up on top of those, and then using the plunge function of the router, set the depth of where I want to go. If I had the normal base on, then when I was routing, the router would keep falling off, and I wouldn't be able to get the cut. But by extending the size of my base, I now have greater ability to do more things with this router. Now, I actually feel like getting one more of these just so I don't have to switch them back and forth, but from Milescraft, they also have a router base that's a router base with a bushing set. So that I'll take this plexiglass off and I'll put this router base on, and you basically just center it. They've got a little tool that you set inside the shank of your router, and that allows you to set the center of this. And then they have different size bushings for different size router bits that you're going to be using. Now, a lot of my router work is done with straight bits. Straight bits that have no bearings, straight bits that have bearings in the bottoms, or straight bits that have bearings in the top. And what's nice about this is that you can find the base that you need for the size bit that you want, and then make yourself a template, and this router bit spins inside of the bushing, and the bushing will go out and ride along your template. So like the stairs that I recently made on Instagram, I simply took a piece of MDF and cut out the size of the stair tread void that I was trying to make, and all I had to do was make it 1/8 bigger, because the distance from the edge of my router bit to the edge of the bushing is 1/16, so I add 1/16 and 1/16, you get 1/8. And you can quickly make any template you need for whatever you're cutting out. So having that little bushing makes these routers very versatile. I am going to do another video just about the routers and the different things that you can do with them and how you set them up. I consider them to be the most versatile tools for everything from dados to rabbets to shaping, you know, cutting out, hogging out material for the back of mantles and things like that. They're a little intimidating and they scare a lot of people, but once you get the basics down and kind of get your feet wet a bit and get used to them, they are very, very, very useful tools. And really between these 3 routers and these 2 jigs, I guess it would be these 3 jigs, like you can do a huge amount of woodwork without having to have a whole lot of space and without having to go out and buy new tools, or until the point that you can buy the new tools or you have enough space to buy those tools. Okay, now another really important tool you need is a planer. And if you don't have a big planer, meaning like a stationary planer or a benchtop planer, then having a handheld planer is huge. Now I recently got this one this year. It's the big Virotex planer, 18 inches across the bottom here. Really, really, really good planer. I found that the bigger you have, the bigger shoes you have on the bottom, the bigger working space you have on the bottom, the easier it is to use the planer, the quicker you can get to your end result. And with this one, like with a lot of them, you also have the edge guide, which you can set in and then run along the edge of your piece. And yeah, I've really been liking this one. Like I say, I have a few. I have the Makita and I have a Bosch one as well, but I find myself reaching to grab that one way more than the other ones, just because of how quickly I can get down to where I want to go. So they're not really expensive tools. Like these aren't the cheapest tools out there, but they're certainly not the most expensive, and they can give you, once you get familiar with them, they can give you really, really, really good results for small tools. Okay, and lastly, sanding is a part of woodwork, and having a really good sander makes a huge amount of difference. Now I have the Mirka sanding system. These guys have been doing sanding for a very long time. They started doing it in the 40s in Finland, and they really have it figured out. I love their whole sanding system. I don't necessarily stay with just one brand. I try to find the tool that I like the best at this point. And the Mirka sanding system, for a very long time, I used the 5-inch, battery powered. I also had a corded one, and then I upgraded to the 6-inch dual mode Makita sander. And it was a good one. It was definitely a huge step up over the 5-inch battery or corded one, because it had the dual modes and it was a little bit more ergonomic, and you could get a lot more done. But this Mirka sander is amazing. Like, the difference from stepping from this one to this one is less than how much of a difference I felt from going to this big Makita one to the Mirka one. It's well balanced, it's well engineered. With the sanding system, so the vacuum has the auto tool sensing, so as soon as you turn on your sander, the vacuum turns on, clears the line, really does dustless sanding. They have an incredible sandpaper, the Abernet sandpaper, 7 speeds, very well balanced, greatly reduces user fatigue, and cuts the amount of time that you spend sanding way down, and actually makes sanding fun. Generally speaking, with woodwork, we're mostly trying to make 90-degree cuts, like really good 90-degree cuts, really good 90-degree rabbets. Think about half laps and castle joints and butt joints. And the majority of the work that you're doing is getting good 90-degree stuff. And so these tools help you to do really good 90-degree stuff with either a blade, a bit, or sanding. And that's mostly what it comes down to. I do have chisels and I do have hand planes and I do have a bunch of other stuff, but I'm talking like, if you could only choose a few tools to drastically improve the efficiency and the quality of the cuts and the stuff you're producing this year, then the Makita family of things that go on the track, so that we're not relying on you being an exactly perfect robot that can cut straight. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that any time that you can use something that will reduce human error, when you're doing a long cut, as you're walking down the cut, there's so many joints in your body and you might step on something, and every time you move or wobble or mess around your blade, cause an imperfection on the wood, which you then have to use planers or routers or something else to fix. So starting off with making straight cuts and then making micro adjustments in your cuts until you get really nice, good joints. Then when you go to glue up, all your joints are really good. So if you only had to choose a few, I would get the track saw and the track. I would get one router, whether it was this 1 1/4 plunge router or the cordless one. If you get the cordless one, then make sure to get the base. In the link below, I'm going to have a link to a corded trim router that comes with this base, the depth guide, and the plunge base. Now I don't know why, but they don't have a package where you can get the corded one with that whole setup. You can get the corded one with this depth guide, and you have to buy the plunge base separate, and I'm gonna have a link. And then you can't buy the whole track system family together. You can't even buy it with the clamps together. So I'm gonna have a link for the clamps, a link for the connector guide. I'll have a link for the track saw with the 55-inch track. I'll have a link for the 118-inch track, and then I'll have a link for the Makita track adapter, which comes with the 2 rods, and you can change back and forth between your different routers. I highly recommend Makita sander. I do realize that it is expensive, and for some of those that are just starting out or don't do this full time, it's probably way too much of a sander to buy. But if you do a lot of sanding, and this is something that you're going to be doing for a while, having a good sander makes a huge difference in the quality of your product and the amount of time you're spending sanding. Then I highly recommend the Mirka. And for a planer, I'm really happy with this big Veritex one. I've got a few more of their tools I've started using recently. One of them is actually a tilting router, which I'm pretty excited about because I love routers so much. So it's basically a smaller router that has the capacity to tilt, so I can cut in on different angles and get a little bit more creative with things. So I hope this helps some of you, and I'm not just saying this to try to sell the tools. If you follow me on Instagram, these are tools I actually use all the time. I've put them through years, in some cases many years of work, and in some cases 6 months to 12 months. And I make and sell furniture for a living. So I don't actually sell tools for a living. Like, these are things that I actually use, and I use them because they help me do the job faster and better and more efficient, and I get better results out of them. If you have any questions, let me know, but highly recommend these tools.